he's 26. That's wonderful. But I just wanted to know. I just want to know how old he is, and I love
Right.
that. So sorry. Go ahead, Jedi.
So, and I don't know if you know about this. So, top down versus bottom up thinking.
Oh
So,
yeah.
can you kind of explain the difference and what, like, I'll let you kind of take it from there because
So this is a newer concept that I'm learning still.
yeah,
Um, but the way that I have understand it, and the best way that I can explain it is kind of what I was saying before, of someone who has autism or is neurodivergent. They are taking in every single aspect of, I'm just going to say a story. We're reading a book. Okay. We're just going to say we're reading a book. And they're taking in every single aspect of what is happening in the book and trying to figure out the pieces of what is happening. Whereas someone who is maybe neurotypical can figure it out without understanding all of the little pieces. So for instance, like, and maybe I'm saying this incorrectly, but I can ask specific questions, or they can tell me every single little thing. But if I ask them, what was the point of the story, or whatnot, they can't answer that broader question. It's everything building up to the point. And if you have a better explanation of that, Jedi, I would be welcome to
right.
understanding that.
Yeah. So the way I was made to understand it was, so if you're kind of like, if you were to look at a problem,
Hmm.
like if you were asked to solve a problem or build like a project, um an, I don't like a average person would take what is already there and look top down at it and go from what's already, previous examples and build from there, top down out.
Right.
A neurodivergent person would start from scratch and build up from something completely new, bottom up, because it's just the way their brain works. And they, now, and that's not all neuro, because, especially as if you're a high masking individual, you learn to kind of work off of both properties because you have to over time, but it's just something that your brain works off of one or the other base.
Right.
This is what they're starting to believe, majority one or the other.
Hmm.
And the thought is that with a lot of neurodivergent people, you're, for the most part, you start off more bottom up, building from the bottom up. So like if you were to think of like the Great Pyramid, you think bottom up. So you're looking at all the information and building your way up, instead of someone who may be neurotypical and you're looking from the top down and going, all right, the pyramid's already built, so I can just use the information that's there. Right.
Right, exactly. And I think that that speaks to, if Jollymon's still here, how you were saying the process is different. The processing speed. I don't think the processing speed is different. It's just the way that it's processed is different, if that
Right.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
So,
right, and that's kind of what I was getting at.
right.
The neurodivergent is, you're taking in all of the information and you're
Mhm.
going off of more information. You're just processing more of it as opposed to
Right. Honing on maybe
yeah,
what might be the main detail,
right,
honing on what is the bottom of the pyramid.
right.
And I
Instead of
love
in
that. I actually really love that analogy, and I kind of wish I had that analogy. Thank you so much. When I was like teaching, because it is, I'm a big person of just analogies.
right,
And so yeah, so the way that like it's described, is like the big picture or the
Yeah.
context, like where someone can look at the big picture or the context and then just kind of figure out, oh, I know what that is, and then, oh, how did we get there?
Right.
Whereas your neurodivergent friends, I like
Yeah.
to say friends, they can't see that. They have to see how we got there,
Yeah.
which makes sense
Yeah.
because um, our friends who have autism or who are neurodivergent, excuse me, um, very black and white thinkers,
Hmm.
which makes that gray in between so hard. So they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you got here, but I don't care about here. I want to know how you got
Why?
there
Why? Yeah.
and
Why?
why
Why?
and how.
Yeah.
And so we got to start here, which also which also um is why when people say, well, but he knows this, how to say mom and dad, he knows how to say I want milk, he knows how to say that. I get it. But when you're on sensory overload, you forget those things. So you got to work from the bottom up,
Yep.
which is when a kid is a baby, you're signing, you're showing them things, you're using pictures. So if someone is, in that fight, flight, or freeze status, you got to work from the bottom up. You got to start with pictures. You got to relate those pictures to words. You got to use sign. You got to use all of the things to try to get them here. You got to
Right.
work from the bottom up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
No. Yeah. And I would say this. I would kind of to use your term. Hi, Sammy, and thank you for the heart me and staying in the fan club. So to kind of relate it, to use an analogy for your terms, um, kind of think of it as for a neurotypical brain,
Mm,
you have a funnel that only lets in a certain amount of the information that you need. The funnel is bigger. The opening for the funnel is bigger for a neurodivergent brain. It lets in far more information. We have to sift through more information before we can get to that point, if that makes sense.
no, it
Um,
totally does, because here's the deal, because like we have said, um, a neurodivergent person has to look at every specific piece and say, is this quality information or is it not? Whereas a neurotypical person, and again, this is not right or wrong, y'all. This is not right or wrong. But in my brain, a neurotypical person could be like, I don't need this information. Let's focus on, again, the top part. What is the most important? The
right,
top down thinking, whereas the bottom up thinking is, I have to sift through every specific piece of information and get rid of that, and
right,
also deal with all of these like sensory issues, the light and
yep,
everything that are it is an issue, and get to the important piece of information. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And
yeah,
and all while doing that, because we know we know that students, I'm sorry to say students, but people with autism, this is the difference. People with autism, no, I shouldn't say that. People used to think that people with autism couldn't learn. We know that they can learn, and we know that they are amazing and their brains are amazing. And so that their brains are amazing. They're just sifting through they're like little computers sifting through information, trying to figure out
right,
what is important and what is not. I think
right,
that's beautiful.
right.
It's just a different way of thinking.
And that's kind of something I was getting to next. So, kind of to debunk something. Do autistic people really feel emotions? Do they have empathy?
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. So my students that I've worked with autism have showed me love, have showed me empathy, have showed sympathy, have showed grace. Absolutely. They just show it differently because they
Yeah,
process it differently.
yeah,
It
100%.
takes it. Go ahead.
I would argue I went to school with um a few people who had autism, and at the time they called it savant syndrome. I don't know if that's what it would be classified as now. I know he would probably be now considered level 2. He was
Okay.
uh he was fluent in 4 languages, but
That's amazing.
he had a lot of other difficulties.
Mhm.
And
So you probably would have classified that savant would have been original. So that's like
yeah,
your old school. What is that movie with Rain Man?
yeah,
Then it would have been
100%.
classified as Asperger's. Then it probably would have been level 1 or level 2.
Yeah.
And that's
And
another thing that I want to talk about later is the classification if we get to it. Go
right.
ahead.
And he was hilarious. He had like
Oh, I love that.
his sense of humor was
That's the best.
great.
I
Great.
love it. I love
So,
it.
it's one of those things that always gets me when people are like, "Oh, well, they don't feel empathy or they
What are you
don't
talking
have
about?
yeah, it always I mean, I I think I have a wicked sense of humor. I think I feel empathy.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think you've kind of already addressed the over sensory or the sensory overload and the stimulation issues. And I can kind of touch on some of the because I know you deal with younger students.
I do.
I don't know if you know about I just left me
No, take your time.
autistic regression. Do you know of that? It's
Not as
as
much.
it's more it's a more of an adult
No,
autism thing.
honestly, I'm so sorry. I deal more
No,
with
you're good.
my younger
And
kiddos. And
that's
that's the thing
why
with
I
me. If
asked,
I'm gonna tell you I don't know, I'm gonna tell you I don't know.
and I
I'm not
appreciate
gonna
that.
make it up.
See, and that is the sign of a learned person. If you know, you know. If you don't, admit it. So we touched on self soothing and stimming.
Mhm.
So I guess we'll get to this. What